to this another day, another special occasion. But this time around, we're driving things home. It's good that we already have Dr. Tanko here. Thank you for all those who are on the speakers and those who have also gathered to listen. We're going to be sharing things that concerns us, our community, our family, and particularly our polity as regarding our electoral reform in context and in focus. And we're just going to hit on it straight. It's an ongoing conversation that we've been having concerning the Nigeria's electoral reform. And today we're diving into it. We're grateful to have the national coordinator of the ObiDient movement here, and we'll be giving him a lot of questions and asking him to see how he's also driving the ship in trying to attend to critical issues that are of national importance right now in our country. There are different people have different reactions as concerning electoral reform. Others believe that we need judicial reform. Others believe that we need all kinds of reforms. Yeah, but here today we're going to be focusing on electoral reform because without that, whatever it is that happens is the baseline, you know. And so we're going to be dealing with it. I'm going to run some questions across to Dr. Tanko while he takes his introduction and also dive into some of those questions before I let other people begin to chime in and ask questions as we move in today. We usually in this space like to keep it concise and straight because it is also it serves both as for research purpose and also where somebody can come in and be able to listen to for an hour thereabouts, an hour and a half. So this is not one of the rooms that we have ongoing endlessly in terms of we're not going to sit here until 12 midnight Nigerian time or 1 a.m. No, because we're keeping it concise. We want a situation where somebody can just listen in. If you remember all the other ones we've had, when we had Honorable Ben Atana Bene, who was able to give us concrete issues, or when we hosted Senator Ninadi regarding the Labour Party issues, or when we had Senator Iriti, concrete issues. And today we're having the, the apex promoter of the obedient movement, to be able to give us some tidbits and also let's get directions and feelings that's concerning that. So the more we can keep it concise, it will help those who listen up and be able to download it and use it for other materials as we go. So once again, I would like to welcome each and every one of us here to another edition as we deal with a very looking at the perspectives, particularly obedient perspective as regarding the electoral reform in Nigeria. It's a conversation that is very touchy, but it's somewhere we have to go. So, Dr. Tanko, welcome. I just want to say that as part of your introduction and as a question to you, what are the core electoral reforms in terms of priorities? What are priorities for the obedient movement? Are there core electoral reforms that are priority for the obedient movement at this particular juncture in Nigeria's political evolution? So that you can answer that and use that as a springboard for your introduction. Dr. Tanko Yunusa.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to the obedient family. Good evening to patriots. Good evening to Nigerians in diaspora. Good evening, every Nigerian who desire for a good governance. And I want to thank you, Dr. Mo, for hosting this very important space where we can ventilate and postulate ideas that can help us in driving our democracy forward. Quite honestly, a lot of us who have been in the trenches for a very long time understood the importance of electoral reform. And interestingly, this is not the first time that we are involved in the quest for electoral reform. Uh, it may interest you to know I was thickly involved in the quest for electoral reform of the 2010. Now we're talking about an electoral reform in 2022. Permit me to also plead with you to also, just stay in silence for just 1 minute for a very dogged fighter who has championed the cause of the electoral reform even on his last breath. And that particular person is no other person than Comrade Ariyo. Ariyo died while we were in the forefront of the desire for electoral reform right even before the elections. Uh, May the soul of Ariyo rest in perfect peace. I remember with nostalgia we met at Comrade Amadi's office while we were championing the cause of the electoral reform. So you see, this particular request for electoral reform starts today. Although we didn't get it through before the election of 2023, but this particular request have now become urgent. I will just share with you some of the views that I presented publicly at Enugu uh, when we had a meet and greet with the Southeastern ObiDient movement members. And I said that our democracy is in danger, seriously in danger. And unfortunately, those who help in championing the cause for the democracy, who are part of it initially, are the one actually murdering democracy. And I say this with deep sense of patriotism. When we examine what happened in 2023, there was no doubt that our electoral system has been manipulated. And our lack of involvement as citizens with the citizen actions had given so much room for those who want to continue to annihilate us and put us in complete level of poverty and annihilating the whole process of democracy, especially in this government, particularly the government of APC. I normally don't mention names, but I'm forced to mention these particular names because the level in which they have taken their personal fight against the people. Furthermore, the ability to press this descending unhealthy democracy that is already raging is so damning that it requires everybody to be on board. Is it the incessant arrests that's already been going on for anybody who decide to challenge the government in power? Recently, I heard there is the arrest of president, except if they release him. Those who decide to challenge the son of the president also get beaten and also get arrested. Those who decide to challenge the president himself are being intimidated. Recently, we've seen the waves of how people are changing gears and moving to the APC as a way of defending themselves or protecting themselves after maybe they've stolen the country to a point of stupor. The well-said disappointment followed the electoral evidence of what happened at the last elections, where we have people and group of individuals denying Nigerians the right to vote because of their ethnic belonging, also making threats, open threats to people that they come from different parts of the country, particularly our brothers in the southeastern part of the country. And recently, unfortunately, whether directly or indirectly, we saw the same glitch happening in the jam result of people from the same ethnic group, whether it was a deliberate attempt or not. But most insulting and most annoying is the involvement of our institutions. These institutions range from the executive, the legislature, judiciary, and most interestingly, the press. However, the principal neglecting most important aspect of government, which is the people's driven, I emphasize, include people of the fifth extent of government, which of course are the press. Today, our press can easily manipulate a story and tell you that no, the president did not do ABC, the son of the president did not do ABC. Actually, it was a misconception and all. But meanwhile, all of us are suffering so bad in this present situation. The executive are the most irresponsible, forgive me to use the word, to say the least, who are very much interested in supporting those who are in position of power because they feel they can be protected from whatever it is that they've stolen from the people. A clear-cut example is what happened at the River State Government House, where an elected person was passing out a martial order against an elected person. Totally unacceptable. Yes. Take a look at our legislators. The legislators have become completely irrelevant in this particular scenario. They become a rubber stamp. They are interested only in pushing a narrative that will suit their interests. And I remember with nostalgia when I delivered a paper at the National Assembly towards 2010 general elections as IPAC Interparty Advisory Council chairman. We said with very serious position that anybody is in the position of power at today may forget that tomorrow he will be out of power. And when he's out of power, those laws that he refused to pick or do at that time will come and haunt him. And yes, it did, because it haunts majority of them. Here is the last hope of the common man, the judiciary, where we are of the belief that probably the judiciary will be independent and they will pass laws that can be of interest to protect the common man on the streets. Unfortunately, that is not what is happening. In fact, they bring us some of the best or worst words from the judicial books just to manipulate the system, to give credence to those who do not have any bidding or any kind of things to do with our Nigerian elections and how we can get the right leaders in the right place. Imagine at our last court case where I was the chief or the star witness, and it was very clear. We presented a document that showcased how we were being manipulated, and the proof of honors was in the hands of INEC through copies. And when we tendered it, the next thing they told us was that that particular document was mutilated and being doctored by us. They did not even go as far as going to find out from INEC if these copies actually came from INEC. They just gave it a stamp and said, no, it doesn't even, it was a manipulated information that came from us, and thereby giving a verdict, not even scrutinizing that particular document, and gave a verdict to the president's tyranny and dictators that we have as leaders at the moment. Originally, the press was supposed to be the watchdog of the people, but no, the press now actually come in defense of those who are out to hunt us. And whether we like it or not, we, the people, too have our own share of the blame, because the people who are in position of documents are not ghosts, they are human beings. Those who are in INEC are human beings. Those who are in our security outfit are human beings. Those who are supposed to be the one that corrects the ills in the society, all of them are human beings. And none of them, as His Excellency Peter Obi will usually say, none of them buy bread cheaper. In fact, possibly, they are even feeling the pain more than those of us who are actually challenging the status quo. What is happening in Nigeria today is the most shameful act where somebody can win an election using a political party that he used as his ladder to win elections, only to go to that particular position of power and change just like a chameleon and then still remain on that particular seat. That is treasonable offense against the people. In fact, it's the worst crime that you can think of, because it's highly hypocritical and totally against all moral judgment to be right. But then, this is what we see. And none of them leave that particular position of power. They will still remain there while they traded the manifesto of Party A to Party B, and then they will still remain there, and people will be clapping for them that, yes, they are now cleansed of all of their crimes and all. So, ladies and gentlemen, for me, it's a huge demand coming back to the questions that Dr. Mo asked, that do we have a clear-cut demand of what we want as a people? Yes, we do, because what we did was that we actually engaged from our legal directorate to give us a document of what we believe can be useful to us as our clear-cut demands. And interestingly, Barrister Vincent came out with very important issues, and he put it in writing, which we'll be willing to share with everybody. As I was preparing to be on this space this evening, I was going through some of the presentation that were being made by some of the senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And they're talking about the right to vote and early voting. Good ideas, good presentation. But the fact is that those who are ready to vote, how far have you taken their own votes? How credible have those particular votes been? But in any case, our demands are simple. We have almost like 21 demands. But because of time, I'm going to just speak to 10 of those particular demands. One, we want strict compliance to educational qualification with evidence, because it makes nonsensical of us going to school, sending us to school. Our parents pay huge amount of money to go to school, and then when we go to school, some of us, suffer so much to get those particular certificates. Then yet, somebody from somewhere, from nowhere, who cannot even prove beyond reasonable doubt that he has even a primary school certificate, end up becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What do you expect those who go to the university or go to the secondary school or primary school to think? That the education that they went and acquired is useless. So there must be a electoral act that clearly stipulates that educational qualification, no matter how it is, even if it's a primary school certificate, okay, let's even say X75 or whatever they call it, is a document that is required. Present it. You must be able to present it and document it clearly that you are the true owner of that particular document. Otherwise, we will have ghosts, double-faced individuals who do not have the capacity to lead this country, to be leaders in every capacity that we find ourselves. And this has been allowed to fester on a continuous basis. It cannot continue like this. We must demand for a clear-cut evidence of your qualification. If you don't have it, right from the onset, INEC should be able to disqualify that particular person from running for election. There's no rocket science about it. Two, the issue of compulsory debate. We must have people who have the capacity to say A, B, C in defense of whatever it is that they're presenting to the people. But you have individuals who do not have the capacity to defend even the manifesto that they say they're presenting to the people, end up leading them. In fact, I find it difficult to understand. There are some people who do not even know the difference of their manifestos and the document in which they are presenting to the people. They can't defend it because they don't even know what is contained within it. And they cannot come out and debate to face whoever. They rather will manipulate the system, have an individual choreograph or R&D presentation. No, you must be able to come out and say ABC against your own compatriot or a patriot and say, look, whatever you are presenting, I have a better idea that can help Nigerians. And I have it with facts and figures. And I have a timeline in which I promise A, B, C, D to do to Nigerian people. This debate must take place Anybody who wants to lead us in any capacity, even from the councillor level, should we be able to face each other and tell Nigerians? Because after all, democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. But then, if it is like that, then the people must be able to hear you, speak to them, and they will know exactly how you can be their leader. Thirdly, the issue of registration of voters. Look, it's not hidden that we have 93 million Nigerians who registered to vote. 93 million. At the last count, what we had at the 2023 general election was that 23 million, 24 million Nigerians voted. This is just 1/4 of the total population of the registered voters. That means that 1/4 of the people who voted are the one that voted and then present you with the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's not even half of that particular population. It's totally unacceptable. Totally. And so we must be able to find a way of encouraging voters to vote. All registered voters must be able to vote. And I think some of the impediments that came around from this particular people not registering is simple, because you have to move from point A to point B if you are to move to go and vote, because we are using a kind of an analog way of voting. Analog way of voting. Remember, we have a voter's card, which for me, I think is a multiplicity of documents that can lead you to vote. You have an ATM card, you have driver's license, you have NIN, almost 4 or 5 different cards that you have. Why don't you just collapse them into one and let them function effectively? That way, we will have add value to that particular document, that particular voter's card, so that anywhere you are, I can be able to be in Isialangwa or be in Imo or Owerri to vote for the governor of Kano State, and that my vote should count in that direction. If I am probably in Ibeduleki or Badagry, I should be able to vote and my vote should count in that particular area where I want my vote to go. But it doesn't have to be necessary that I have to move from point A to point B because I want to vote. Those are part of the things that creates annihilation for people who really want to vote for the candidate of their choice. We must find a way of ensuring that our vote counts and everybody has the right to vote for the candidate of his choice. So therefore, many countries who have advanced in democracy actually vote for candidates of their choice, and everybody votes. Everybody votes because they are sure that their vote will count. So we must push for a voting system where Nigerians can be able to vote anywhere they are. Of course, this may bring the issue of diaspora voting, as the case may be. Some may kick against it, but if you have a proof, well, watertight system, that particular vote can happen, because we in Nigeria are the one that will issue that particular card and we will know who are Nigerians. Yes, you can leave this country and go to another country, but you have an identity card that signifies you to be a Nigerian. And that is the document that you can use with all the protection necessary for it to work. Fourthly, we are of the opinion that we have an electoral system that has proportional representation. Proportional representation in this case simply means that if we win 10 senators, 20 Federal House of Representatives, they should be statutorily being allocated funding on their own. Most of the things that the government or the political party that wins, that becomes in power, use is simple. They make sure that it's a winner-take-all syndrome, and they intimidate those who are in position, who have won election, so that way they will be subservient to the people who are in position of power. That is the reason why you see purification of people, what would they call it, nomadic or prostitutional way of having candidate who wins election in one party and moving to another party. That must be checkmated. Once there are funds allocated to each of the political party, that way majority of those who won election have a right to remain. These have been practiced in so many other countries like India, South Africa, and the rest of them. We can always look out and find out truly if that proportional representation works. And I know it works because it will help you to remain independent and work for the political party. That way, the political party will be seriously independent and reduce this particular political nomadism. 5, the electronic transmission of results. I was an election observer in the last election before this particular election that ushered in the next government in Edo State and Ondo State. We had the Vivas machine at that time. The Vivas machine was able to give out results at real time. That time we usually have what we call result soldiers. Everybody will just give you a result of what is happening within their own domain, just to showcase maybe their party is in charge or leading. Most of them are lies. But with the Vivas at that time, it was accurate result that was coming in. There was no manipulation of one glitches that come from Jupiter or Mars. No, there wasn't. The electoral results should be transmitted at real time. I am not a proponent of this collation center, and I will never be, because that is where they go and manipulate the system and gather all the information that they and change the result. But with well-marshaled agents in every polling unit, as a contestant, you should be able to know whether you've won election or not. It's not by the courts. It's not by the court. You must be able to have that result immediately in your hands. And that can only be done if we transmit result at real time and then supporting it with the agent result, because it's the same agent result that will be transmitted live at real time for us to collate. So that way, you will have eliminated that canker, that humongous monster called collation center. And the electoral reform should be clear. There's no ambiguity. Not giving if this did not happen, certain thing will happen. No, it must be A or B. It must be one or two. It's not. It cannot be may. It should be shall with affirmative position. So those particular positions that they use, majority of us are not really aware. Maybe because we didn't read the Electoral Act before the election. Majority of us do not know that there's another lacuna being presented to hide in case if they want to manipulate the system, which they eventually did. So we must be able to look out for those particular uh, issues. 6, the burden of proof should be on INEC to justify their result. Here, what it simply means is that once there is an election, those who pronounce the election should be able to defend their result. Not for you to say the contestant should be the one that will go and present his document, which we know it's going to be made difficult for the contestants. And I can tell you this from the experience that we have in 2023, because for us to go and get some facts and results, it took us a huge period, and some of them we couldn't even get them. In fact, preparatory to that particular result presentation, INEC has wiped out all of the manipulated results that they had. I know for one, I was strictly involved. Adelefaro to me was to go and get our result in Lagos. It took him a lot. Some Vincent who was supposed to get in the East and all, they couldn't get those particular results. It took a lot of energy for us to get to that particular the result that you saw us present. 7, the campaign seat, as I said earlier on, must be declared vacant. Declare vacant, and when you lose, when you leave that particular position, go. Nobody stops you. You can decide to go and rerun for election, and then that seat should be declared vacant. We must declare that seat vacant. It will serve as a deterrent to those who want to leave the position of that particular seat and then go to another political party. But once we don't do that, we give room for people to manipulate the system and use this particular issue that if there is problem in that other particular party, I have the right to leave. You don't have any right to leave anywhere. You are tied down to the promises that you made to the people. And if you don't want to give them their promises, leave that place, go and contest again. If you are popular, then you come back to your seat. Number 8, I mentioned the issue of diaspora voting and voting at anywhere anywhere you are, making sure that the cards had value. Voters' cards should be consolidated, like I said earlier on. That is number 9. Then number 10 is the Justice Muhammad Uwais report. The Justice Muhammad Uwais report was a fantastic document that was presented to the Nigerian people. A committee that was set up under Justice Muhammad Uwais gave a vivid account after doing a lot of research, consolidating and asking questions from a lot of people. They talked about majorly 3 issues. They talked about balkanizing INEC. That simply means breaking down INEC into 3 groups, 3 commissions. First of the commission that they proposed was an electoral commission. As we speak, INEC is bogged down with both conducting election, dealing with the issue of electoral malfeasances, dealing with the issue of delineation. Most of the cases on INEC table, they will not finish it till their kingdom come if they are to go ahead the way they are. And so therefore, it is very important that we have an electoral commission. This electoral commission should solely be responsible for election only. Election only. They will deal with election, how we do with election, what we do with election. It is only their duty. Then we have the Enforcement Commission. The Enforcement Commission is saddled with the responsibility of arresting those who want to malign our electoral system, making sure that the arrest and persecution of those elements who want to hijack and steal ballot boxes. Once that is done, you all know that there's a commission responsible for that, and their sole right is just for them to prosecute. Once that is done, it will serve as a deterrent to those who want to, manipulate the system. See, the Delineation Commission. The Delineation Commission, for some of us who are very much familiar with census and all, delineation simply means providing new polling units. Remember, during elections, you don't move from point A to point B. And you also know within the 4 years period, some area must have developed. And every polling unit is supposed to have not less than 500 persons voting at that polling unit. 500 persons. So if, for example, a Gwarimpa in Abuja, for example, see how large Gwarimpa is, you cannot account the places where the voting points are scattered, and it does not take care of all the population there. So many voters are disenfranchised. I have another area in Abuja that I can use an example. They call it yes, LM Estate, very large, but they don't even have one single polling unit in that particular place. In Kano, for example, we have a new area that many people have already moved into. Yes, you may say some of them have voters card and all, they have to move their card, but it is difficult before you can reallocate your card to that particular place. So the issue of delineation comes in here, meaning that they have to create new polling units and polling area. But that cannot be done during election time. It must be seen to be done 2 years before the election. So that way, people will not be seeing it as if it's giving undue advantage to another political party. So it becomes important. The Delineation Commission should be put in place. The Delineation Commission can work very close with the Boundary Commission. It can work with National Population Commission. Anything that has to do with the population, they can work together and deal with that as a commission. So every time there's a increase in population, this particular commission will deal with it. And finally, from that particular report, it went ahead to talk about the appointment of INEC chairman, which is key. And in their proposed position, they are of the view that we need to open the space, publicly present a request. Like now, we are due to have a new INEC chairman. Don't leave it solely to the person who is in position of power. Open it up as an advertisement. And once you advertise, people who have the believe that they have the capacity and character and capacity and character and consistency that they can present themselves. And then when that happens, the Judicial Council will scrutinize and present 3 out of those particular individual for the president to choose. That way, we may have somebody who has his head on his neck to be able to pioneer the independency of INEC. And the independency does not only come with only mouth or nomenclature that is being given. No, the independency of INEC must be practicalized, meaning that the funding supposed to be directly to them. Yes, I've had arguments. Some people are saying, what do you mean by consolidated revenue fund? They must have a first line charge where money that was supposed to be given to INEC, it is there, is statutory. So that way, they will not be going cap in hand, looking for money from the presidency or even the security, looking for money to pay them how they are moving cars, and because contestants and sitting governors pay off this particular individual. These and many more are some of the issues that I'll be able to raise with you. Ours is just to raise this particular issue, and we're ready to present it. As the moment now, we have collaborated as an action point with other people who have passed in documents to INEC. Some may to the National Assembly. Some may ask, why have we not presented ourselves independently? Yes, what we decided to do was to partner with those who have already gotten their documents at the first reading and second reading, I mean. And we have been in various electoral reform discussions with Barrister Femi Falana, with Pastor Elam, and then there's one young man, Chime. All of these particular we've been collaborating. But we've had our own document which we passed in to this particular gentleman as a way of collaboration. Because the more the voices are being heard, the merrier and it's better. So independently we could do, but then we decided that it is better for us to come and convert. That way, possibly they may know the force behind it. But at the end of it, or probably after listening and answering some of the questions, I have my own suggestion on how I think we can continue to put on pressure. At the end of it, or if it's workable, then we'll adopt it as a system of actionable plan, and then we will implement it. I thank you very much for listening. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I also believe strongly that the new Nigeria is possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko, for the insight and for the breakdown. Thank you so much. Right now we're going to take questions. Please, if you're on the mic, kindly take your hand up so that we can take a queue while we bring other people who have questions up. And if you're unable to come up, you can put your question in the comment section of the space. We will just read it out. So I think I have Mr. Kolade. His hand was the first that went up, though it was. I'm not sure it was the first guy that came on the mic, but is that what the first? I'll take him first. Then we'll take Malam. So Mr. Kolade, over to you.
Thank you so much, my brother, Dr. Mo. Thank you for using your mics to help us get the big wigs up here, like on this platform. It's highly appreciated. Dr. Tanko, Dr. Yunusa, thank you so much for coming up. Okay, so I'll go straight to the question. After listening to at least the 10 out of the 20 points that we plan to throw forward, don't you think the majority of what we are throwing out there, the way you stated them, that they are vague, like we are not narrowing them down to the key issues that really affect us? And don't you think that we're still going to find ourselves with the last electoral reform, the one you fought for with others, that we had, that we use, that we know that could have like given us what we wanted if it was really enforced, if the court did not like play around things? Don't you think that the way you read out all these things, like these points, they are still vague? And I'll give you an example, sir. For example, we talk about the beavers. We are saying real-time transmission. Don't we think that real-time transmission in court is still a vague word looking at our courts? Thank you, sir.
Well, these are specific. As I mentioned earlier on, these are results that takes place at the real time. You see, this is how it works. A lot of people do not even know the practice of what takes place at polling units. And probably those are the training that we need to give our agents. Do you know that each of the ballot box paper are coded in each of the polling stations? Do you also know that right from the beginning, each ballot paper has a serial number attached to that particular state and each of the areas of the polling unit? Do you also know that each of the agents supposed to have the result sheet signed by each of those particular agents in that particular voting place? So you see, result of INEC is not something that comes from the sky. Each agent is supposed to have a copy of it and posting that particular result exactly the way it is. There's nothing vague about it. I witnessed one. You go back to the election that brought in the former Edo State governor, go back to that particular result, you will see that that particular Vivas work almost like magic, 100%. So if you have result sheet that have been presented and everybody has a copy, there's no vague in that particular. It's just that people who are supposed to act in that regard refuse to do what they're supposed to do. That's one, because the result sheet is sacrosanct. It is the only document that you can use to prove your election at any election. If you don't have it in your hand, forget it. So I don't really understand when you say vague. Those are not vague, because at the time of the 2023 general election, most agents don't even have the result sheet in their hands. That is the truth. If you have the result sheet in your hand, you should be able to know that your election is free and fair, and that's the vote of the people. And then if you know the pattern is that the moment you get the result sheet, INEC staff post that same result exactly the way it is on their IRF immediately. So they start collation. You don't need to go to anywhere. Right there, you start collation. So results are presented to you at real time at that polling unit. But if it's being manipulated, then that means that there's conspiracy with all the agents in that polling unit. Because your own votes cannot be given to another person, because when you have your results in your hand, party A, party B should be the same thing that all the political parties have. If you see any mutilation on it, that particular document cannot be accepted. But we accepted so many because we saw so many mutilated. So as far as I'm concerned, if these particular rules are followed the way it ought to be, there will not be any ambiguity at all. But quite honestly, they were not followed at that time. And then they took them to a collation center where they manipulated the result.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko, for your response to that. Let's take Malam Bati's side question, please. Malam, are you there?
Yes, good good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Tanko, and thank you for all the efforts so far. I mean, the current president believes that power is not served a la carte. He believes he must fight for it, grab it, snatch it, and run with it. And so, therefore, I believe that it's going to be, a lot of struggle for him to support anything that will make election manipulation difficult for them in 2027. If it so happens that you are asked to narrow this list down to the top 3 most important items, I know you have 20, you mentioned 10, but if, you are asked now that what are the deal breakers, let's just say top 3. What would be the top 3 for you? Thank you.
Okay. The top 3 for me will be qualification. Number 1, you must have that particular qualification. 2, the process of voting must be seen to be free and fair. You don't need magic. In fact, if you are being sincere as voters, remember the option A4. The option A4 was very, very clear at the polling unit. We don't need any judge, any lawyers or any judge to decide who won election. Election must be completed and finished at the polling unit immediately. It must be finished there. And the option A4 at that time will give you easily, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons. You put them aside. 1, 2, 3, 4. You will now know that 6 is greater than 4, and it will be recorded against you. Clear, you have been defeated. Clear, you have won election. So the voting process must be seen to be like that. I have been a national chairman to know exactly all the mechanisms that INEC put in place. But do you know what? The INEC chairman always said that everything that they try to put in place, we, the politicians, always knock it off. We find a way of knocking it off. So, and then the third answer I will give you as regard to what is top priority for me will be the issue of a collation of results, qualification, process, presentation of results. Once that is done, you will now know who is actually qualified to run for election in Nigeria. You will now know that the process of election is simple, seamless, simply simple. And then when the result is being collated and presented, everybody knows whether you have won or you have not. Because you see, the truth about it is that it is draconian and criminal, treasonable for somebody to tell you that in a simple election that's supposed to indicate 1, 2, 3, that you must resort into violence of grabbing, running, and doing whatever with it. It is completely, in fact, for that particular statement alone, supposed to disqualify that particular person. For that particular statement alone. But because we encourage it, because our laws don't give room to it, we energize it. Now we are also training ourselves to be involved in that particular system. Yes, that's what we are training. We are training ourselves because it now becomes a norm. I was in a group of a meeting, and then they said that there are three fundamental factors you have to think about in election in Nigeria. You have to be a candidate. You have to have press with you. You have to. Then they now added you have to have thugs. Then the first one you have to have the judiciary under you. So what we are doing to ourselves is that we are encouraging, spending money for thugs. We are encouraging, preparing ourselves in order to bribe judges. It's not right. It's totally not right. It shows how level of uncivilized that we are as people. Results are being mentioned in every democratic setting almost instantly, and people who win election will go and congratulate the winners. It happens here in Ghana. So why must our own case be different? So we must find a way of disassociating ourselves with it, with enforcing it, so that we cannot be tagged as a criminal nation that only can get its own leader through violent process and intimidation or grabbing and running with it. It's not acceptable. Wallah, it's not acceptable. But we cannot accept it. We cannot continue to energize it and support it.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko, for your response to that. Good governance. Quickly, let's take you. Good governance. Are you
Yeah,
there?
I'm here. Thank you, Dr. Long. Thank you, Dr. Tanko. Yeah, mine is uh, to first recognize the fact that the person in power is not civil. No matter what you preach and no matter what you say, we have to be conscious of the fact that the person in power is ready to do anything to grab power. So, what I want to ask is how prepared is obedient Tanko being the national coordinator? How prepared is the obedient group ready to mobilize Nigerians starting from now, not tomorrow? The other time I heard they met in Lagos and we are ready to start giving ID card and this. My group in Anambra State went to website, is not working. Even lecturers went to obtain the ID card, is not working. So I want to know what effort are they making to communicate Nigerians and get Nigerians mobilized, no matter how what you do with INEC or whatever. If you are not ready to mobilize Nigerians, you will still have the same case of Labour Party sabotaging voters, because it's Labour Party that sabotage voters, not APC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good governance. I beg to differ as regard to the card. What we did in Lagos will provide you with a dummy presentation of the registration. And right now, I urge everybody right now, just open your phone open your phone. I'm trying to open mine right now, please, so that we can be clear on this. Just open your phones so that we can, every one of you can help me in trying to confirm what I'm just about to do. Just use your phone so that you can open the site. Okay, I'm right there right now. Just to give clearance to it. Okay, what we sent out was simple. Open the phone to HTT, I'm picking the words now gradually. HTTPS dot, you now put the double line, obidient.com. OBDIENTS.com. It will open, and I'm pressing my own now. It opened and then it show you right now. Sorry, I'll call you back, sir. I'll call you back now. Okay. It will open right now. You have a new Nigeria that is possible. That's what you have. Then about our movement, it goes open. That our mission and vision, it will open. Just do it now. If there's any confirmation, please confirm. If you open it and then it will tell you register now, it will tell you to create your account. Then you continue. The complete profile will come up. Complete your profile, it will come out. All your data that you need to put in will be there, including your local government and your ward. It will come in, and then you continue with the registration, and then you tell you that you are submitted perfectly. Right now, please just do it to confirm. So it's not true that that particular site. And then what I would say, which is not impossible, because the last time we opened up a portal for Nigerians to register, I don't usually use the word the agbados or those who want to manipulate our process, the glitches that they provided, created another link and sent it out to create confusion so that you'll not be able to get it. So please get to the right source, get the information correctly. Our registration portal is working, up and running. The only thing you will not get at the moment now is the card. And the card is being kept for you when we finish agreeing on what we use, because the card cannot be presented to you free. You must have a cost of acquiring that particular card. And when it comes to you, we want to have designation points. And our plan, well, it's not everything that I want to say here, but our plan is to ensure that that card serves as your entry into some of the other ideas that we have to help. Like, for example, we are talking about having an economic empowerment to our people, meaning that once you can present that particular, it's a membership card. Once you present it to any ObiDient, we want to have an agreement that discounts should be given to you. And then there are positions where we are providing ideas that we can have loans. People want to invest into our people, so that the issue, we don't need to wait for government to provide us with money. We want to empower ourselves. And you can agree with me, the ObiDient have people who are ready to sponsor and support what we are doing. So we want to have a system where each ObiDient person that owns that card, that owns that card, is also eligible to economic empowerment, that will do business with each other. That way we'll be able to finance the movement independently without waiting for another. So that particular position is being put in motion. And to answer your question as regard to what we are trying to do, what we are planning to do is simple. We are trying to warehouse ourselves. At the last election, it was very clear that we were not able to complete the polling unit agents. But even though we have a substantial number that would have given us a clear-cut result of what took place, but yet we did not have that particular number. So what we are doing right now is mobilizing and putting everybody in place. Today, you can be right, you can boastfully say the ObiDient movement has a national coordinating council that is up and running. You have a directorate that is up and running. You have now state coordinators for 25 states which are up and running. The only area that we have not been able to do is that of southeastern state and then southwest, which is coming up pretty soon. And the moment we complete that, it is expected that each of those particular zones, states, will go down the line to go to each of their local government and put all of these structures in place. By the time we are done, we will have 176,000 polling units all completed. And at that point, we have soldiers now on ground. Each soldier is ready to either will look for those who are going to end up being our polling agent, or at least we will have people at every polling unit. So I can assure you, as we speak right now, you can still connect with your people in the northern part of the country. People that were not there before, they are there now. Our database is telling you that in the northeast, we have complete state structures already. In the northwest, we have complete state structures. All of them are up and running. We have in the north central, we have in the south, remaining southeast and then southwest. And those ones, as I said, will be completed. That way, each state will now go to work. And that is one part of it. The second part of it is the issuance of certificate that we want to do to encourage the existing structures, which are the volunteers in support group and all. Those support group too are independent, remember, but we want to prevent them with certificate of collaboration for a new Nigeria. Once we present them with that particular document, they are independent, they will go and work and mobilize. But we also understand that some of the support group have duplication of members. You will find support group A, B, C, or D having Tanko, Yunusa in all of the support group. But the database that we are building will independently cleanse that. You cannot appear twice. You can only appear once, because the number that you presented, your phone number that you presented on this particular, will give you the identity, your own single identity. That way, it is you that we identify. We are not collaborating with anybody. And even when the support group are doing their own, they only move in their structures in and tell us what they've been able to build. That way, we cannot run short of mobilization in each, either from the state coordinator or from the support group. We may have 10 or 20 support group working in the state. The idea of any support group is actually to mobilize the numbers that they have, and then they bring it to our database. So that way, we will be ready. There will be other programs that will come in, other strategies that will be coming in. That will not be the, but for now, I can at least say this, that this is what we are trying to do. And sir, I must say this, we don't close shop. Good ideas that can help us to achieve what we want to achieve is welcome. If you have a good idea that you think can help us, please come with it. Our doors are open. We are not, what would I call it now? We are not like dormant or sacrosanct about whatever it is that we do. As long as the idea is to help us to achieve our collective goal, please, it is welcome. But for now, this is what we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko. Let's take Blunt Craze Man's question. I have a question I need to read. So, Blunt Craze Man, are you there?
Good evening. Good day. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Two quick questions. Like now, you said that we talked about the obedient movement platform. It's not that I am trying to be curious here. The question just came up. Are we now up to 10 million in number that I've registered? Okay, that's the quick one. Now I have a main question I wanted to ask. Something happened in Imo State election of 11th November 2023. During the collation, somebody read out about the raising of dispute. He raised a dispute. They told the agent, no, he raised the dispute that he wasn't allowed at the ward center, and now he came to the local government center, started raising the dispute again, and they told him that the whole of the disputes will be treated at the state collection center. He said it's not true. He was trying to explain to them that the dispute must be treated at the local government before they progress. They bundled him out, and in essence, the disputes were not treated. They were not treated at the ward. They were not treated at the local government, and they were not treated at the state. And that was it. And after everything, the election petition tribunal, they were not treated. And that was how everything was put aside. My question now is this, because Anambra state election is coming very soon, even though There's nobody I think the obedient movement is supporting in this Anambra election. But that doesn't mean that we will sit down and kind of watch them do nonsense, because if they do nonsense, they might still replicate it again in 2027. So now I'm asking this question, like, is there a remedy for this coming Anambra, because the reforms might not be ready before the Anambra elections? If the obedience have a candidate, is there a remedy to this particular issue of raising a dispute and they will turn it down and say that they are not going to treat the dispute at the ward or at the local government, that everything should be pushed to the state collection center, and whereas they know within themselves that nobody is going to treat it at the state? Is there a way to force them? Because the reason I'm saying it this way is because it is there in the Electoral Act, Section 64, subsection 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, that each collection officer must completely treat the dispute, including the final returning officer. So that means it's not some will treat and some will not treat. It's a mandatory. That is why I'm asking this question. Is there a way to actually force these collection officers to do what is there in the law? And if they refuse to treat it at those lower levels before the state collection level, can those particular individual collection officers be brought and sued during the election petition tribunal? Like, every collection officer that refuses to treat his or her own dispute that were raised at the collection, can they joined in the tribunal, in the petition, and then they will come and answer why they refuse to treat their collection, the
All
disputes
right.
that were raised at their collection points? Okay, thank you. That's my question.
Thank you very much, Blanc Grisman. Look, the truth about it is that you just the section of the law is very clear. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But then there's a process. Who is actually raising the issue? Who has the right to raise the issue at the polling unit? It's your agent.
The party agents.
Yes, it's the person. Any other person that raises it may not be listened to. So if the agent who is responsible, is statutory right to do that, did not do that, then of course they will not listen to whoever is bringing the issue. So, and that is the reason why we are saying that we must have trained agents who have the capacity to be at each of the polling units. So even when they are raising issues, they will raise fundamental issues that are cogent and verifiable facts on it. Remember also that there's a law which also said that if there are issues at the polling unit, that particular polling unit will remain cancelled, and it was the election there must be redone. So it must be done with a proof. And that's the reason why some of the strategies that we may have to put in place must be watertight, meaning that probably we will have verifiable videos, we take facts, we take the document, we have every fact that we need to present. So you don't go to a farm and then you go with your hand without a hoe. Definitely you will not be able to work in that particular farm. So it is doable, but we must have the capacity agents that have that will and capacity to deal with those particular issues as when it happens. And that is why we are trying to say we must mobilize to ensure that we have capable hands at each of the polling units. So, second question that you asked, you said, are we up to 10 million at the moment? Blond Beastman, are you there with me?
Yes,
Have you registered?
yes, me and my friends.
You are sure? Don't lie, oh. We are here. Oh. I can verify you. So you see, what I'm asking here is that, what I'm just trying to do here is that, if you did not register, another person did not register, how can we talk about 10 million? When did we announce the registration portal? When? So we definitely were not up to 10 million, but we are more than that in the open space. But documentarily, no. And that's why we are saying everybody should go and register. The moment you register, if we are 10 million, honestly, nobody can defeat us. 10 million? in Nigeria. What did the president use in winning election? Manipulated 8 million. We know we are more than that. Verbally, we are more than that. But we must put it into documentary form. And that's why I'm appealing to everybody. Use the portal. Connect with it. Register. Those who have not registered, encourage them to register. There's a lady that put up an idea. Said ObiDient should put more value to whatever they are doing. It's not for us to only talking on Twitter. I'm not that kind of person. I go to the grassroots. And you can see from what we've been able to do. We've have advocacy group in the northwest, which is from my state. We've done in Gombe. Physically, we've done in Onitsha. We finished in Lagos. The north, southeast, and south and north central are working on their own. Many people who have not seen themselves physically have known each other now. Many. In fact, I met a gentleman in Edo yesterday in Edo. I'm talking to you right now. I'm in Kaduna. I met the groups in Edo, even though when people are saying that there are more to that. Yes, but at least we've been able to ignite. We've been able to meet a lot of people. I met Joe ObiDient in Benin yesterday. I met Mama P in Benin yesterday. I met Asamota. I met quite a number of people that I have only been hearing about them on Twitter, but I saw them face to face. They saw me face to face. That is what we need to be doing right now. It's not for us only to be talking on this particular Twitter. We needed it as a gathering point where we talk to each other. But physically, we need to be very, very active in each of our streets, our polling units. If they are celebrating, join them in celebrating. Identify yourself as an ObiDient. If they are mourning, join them in mourning. If there's a community thing that they're doing, show them that you can be part of them. That way you will win a lot of souls. But if we continue only on the Twitter and talking and all of that, it doesn't win us elections. It's your ability to connect with people on the street where you are that makes you win election. And don't assume that this person hates me. Don't assume so. His Excellency Peter Obi does not assume. When you're attacking me, even go to you and play with, even meet you, to Dobale, he will Dobale for you. That is the way to win hearts. And that is the way to convert people who do not even believe in what you are doing. That is how to mobilize. Once you get them, they convert into you, and then you tell them what you are doing, and then they will register. Our numbers keep increasing. That singular act will make our numbers to increase. But if you stay only on Twitter, this is Agbado, you abuse him. The most hated Agbado is you can still convert him. You can still convert him because he's suffering too, the way you are suffering. And all we need is his vote to make a better Nigeria. So I want to appeal to our people. Use this opportunity that we are gathering and talking to ourselves to be physical on ground. It's only when you are physical on ground that you're able to convince people that will vote for PO, or even vote for any candidate of your choice, or even you, in case you want to run for election. And even it will show your good character that obedience are not violent, but there are people who are demanding for good governance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko, for really enlightening us in these areas. Um, I personally I have a question, but before I go there, the URL for the website is already on the dashboard, and you can also find it on my profile. Please do well to go there and engage with it. And please, it's important that I don't know why these are things that should be going viral on this platform right now. The website for the obedient movement, so that everyone can see, you know. Thank you so much. Please, let's make sure that we take it around. Let's take it around so that a lot of people can see it. Yes, Doctor, I have a question which I want to read before we take the next person. Though personally, I also have my. Is it question now? Okay, so but let me take this. Let me read this. We appreciate you for what you're doing, and we know that you're really, doing a lot, going from one place to another since you've taken up this mantle, and we know God is going to help you and the governing council of the Obedient movement generally. So the question says from this person says, given that some members of the Obedient appear to be on different pages, some focus on bigotry, others on economic hardship, some on JAMB issue, some prioritize Senator Natasha's issue, while some are advocating for electoral reform, which is what we are talking about right now, and you are, talking to us about it and giving us, the insight on it, and others are also focusing on judicial reform. Now, the question is, how does the leadership of the movement plan to harmonize these diverse concerns and align everyone towards a common goal? Yes, sir.
God, let me repeat the person that asked that question. I say, God bless him. And I'll repeat the third time again, God bless you. All these reforms that we are championing, please, somebody should answer me. All these reforms that we are championing, why are we championing it? One person can help me. Why? Just answer me, please. Why are we doing it? Nobody? Okay, I will answer. The target is to get PO win election come 2027. Correct? That is just all. Nothing more, nothing less. If today a Peter Obi said, I am not running for election, I don't want to, many of us will go and rest. Everybody will go and rest. You'll be struggling to even know who you are going to align with. Isn't it so? So now we have a product, a sellable, a fantastic product that we want to sell. Let's focus our attention on that particular product. I learned this from PO, and I agree with him totally. Let's sell PO. Where you do not think that he can reach, go there. While we are championing this particular electoral act, judicial act, I don't know, all of this bickering and all of the things that they have stolen our country's money to, the focal point should be Peter Obi. That is the person we are selling. Fighting or arguing will not take us to the voting, will give us the vote. It will not. But when you do moral suasion, you sell the quality of the person, you will have more than what you can imagine. I give you a simple example. Today, I attended a, what did they call it? It was SME Hub Business Productions of individual young Nigerians in the northern part. Brilliant people. Very, very brilliant individual. I was invited, or PO was invited, and I went there to represent him. It is not a political gathering. It was an entrepreneurship gathering where professors, young professors at the age of 30, 40, doctors at the age of 25, some of them are 30 years old. Very young people. But they have businesses of their own that they run. So PO sent me, I went there. This happened just by 4 p.m. today. At that meeting, nobody mentioned any political party. They were only talking about how their business can triumph. So I now key into the program. What did we do? We now presented prizes to the best 3 most highly intelligent entrepreneurs. And the people who presented themselves were 5 in numbers, and all of them have good product that they are selling. Some are health products, some are perfume, some great quality products. So the first person that came up was Kairi Mohammed. She's a lady, young girl. I think she's just about 25. The next person that came in is another Joe. He's from Southern Kaduna. The third person that came in, his name is Ahmed. Intellectually well-savvy young man. The 3 people won the prizes. The prizes that were presented by me was monetized in a way to encourage them because they are doing business. It's not giving them to go and chop moi moi and akara. No. It was to encourage them in their businesses. So the first person got 100,000, the second person got 80,000, The third person got 70,000. They were all happy. Look at the amount. Oh, they were very happy. Then the two other persons who were part of the team were not among the first three that won. But now I now extended their prize to give them 50,000 naira. You will need to see how the crowd erupted. They all erupted. And at the end of it all, they now ended up announcing my name as the interim national coordinator of the ObiDient movement worldwide, speaking on behalf of Peter Obi. Come and see pictures. Come and see pictures. Come and see how they are logging me. We've been looking for how to connect with Peter Obi. We've been looking. This happened just this evening in Kaduna. So imagine if there are various fora of this nature where things like this are happening. You, in your capacity, in your village, in your local, in your world, you are doing something like that. You are connecting with the people. You are not abusing. You are not accusing anybody. You are just converting souls. You are converting obedient. People want to know the links now. They want to register. They are not announced. People don't think that we have them. But we look, the coordinator and the moderator, who is a professor, asked me to give her the link of the obedience. I can tell you that these messages, I even have pictures of twins who, what did they do? Those particular twins are training children from widows who don't have parents. And they are telling me that those particular children, they have them in numbers. They are going to have another program just only for those particular. I said, I will be there. I'll be there. That is the way we need to start thinking. The more we are, the more it is difficult for them to defeat us. Imagine if you have 200 persons, where 500 persons are in the polling unit. You have 200 persons. Can they manipulate your vote while you are there? It's not possible. So the numbers must continue to increase. Let us focus our attention of Peter Obi as our product that we are selling, just like you are selling a product. If you have a product that you are selling, what do? You keep on advertising it. So keep on advertising Peter Obi. Keep on selling him. Even if they want to fight you, sorry, now, this is not a matter of fight. I'm just giving you important information that this man did this in this area, did this, you can verify. By the time he punches his phone, you can that this is true. He will have a different view of how you think about you. So please and please, the idea of the obedient movement moving themselves together is to market one person, and that's Peter Obi. In a retrospect, you are marketing yourself in case you too want to contest election because you are obedient and you have the right to market yourself too, but market Peter Obi and it will affect you positively. At the end of it all, we will have most of our candidates who know the ideology of what we are trying to set to Nigeria, and we will win elections. But if we end up in issue of bickering and fighting among ourselves, it will not get us anywhere. So this time around, it's not about you fighting or telling. No. Convert them with your good heart. Convert them with facts and figures. Convert them with viewable, verifiable facts. Convert them by uniting this country. There's no any other blood running in you. I'm your brother, you are my brother, and your sister. All the difference between us and those particular persons is that we are demanding for good governance. They are against good governance. That's all. And who will triumph? Those who are asking for good governance. Simple matter. So let's start advertising and selling Peter Obi anywhere we find ourselves. Shikena.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko. Let's quickly take all the questions so that we can, because of time. Flag boy, please, let's take you. Flag boy, are you there? I hope you came with your flag.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Mo. Good evening, Dr. Tanko.
Good evening.
I want to talk about this electoral reform. Is what we as Nigerians, or as well-meaning Nigerians, should be shouting at the top of our voice at this point in time. Officially, I'm starting my campaign this week
God bless you.
on that electoral reform issues. So once I have my flags being done, the flags has been designed. So once I have the flag being done, and once I receive the flag, I'll hit the streets, and I'll be going to the National Assembly with the flag, and I'll be going to different locations here in Abuja. It's time to let Nigerians know about this electoral reform. Sorry about my voice, I've been shouting. That's why my voice is like this. So thank you for what you guys have been doing. Dr. Mo, thank you for what you've been doing. By the special grace of God, a new Nigeria is possible, and our generation will enjoy it. Thank you. I yield the mic.
Man, thank you, Flag Boy, for yeah, for your patriotic act. So let's quickly go to solutions revolution. Let's quickly take your question. Solutions revolution, are you there? While David Oko gets ready. Sorry, doctor. Guys, please, we have to. Okay, David Oko, are you there? Okay, David. Okay. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you come into the mic, make sure that you are ready to ask your question. But at this point, yeah, I think at this point I would have to yield the mic. If you have not followed Mad News, please do well to follow. The journey for the electoral reform has only just begun, and there's a whole lot that will unfold in the coming days, in the coming weeks. And we want to appreciate especially our national coordinator for giving us the insight on electoral reform today and answering questions. Thank you so much. I yield the mic at this point. Thank you.
Okay. Is it time for me to give my closing remark and suggestion, or we are waiting for that to speak, please?
Yes, please,
Hello,
doctor.
before you give your closing
Good
remarks, I
evening,
think
yes,
I've
sir.
been they passed the mic to me to speak.
Okay.
Okay, so solution. We were called earlier solutions revolution. Oh yeah, take your question,
Thank you
please,
very much. It's
quick.
not so much of a question, but some comments and some additional comments on issues of political reform that can be addressed, or electoral reform that can be addressed. I quite appreciate the points enunciated by Dr. Yunusa on electoral reform, but there are some basic issues that also need to be added to what he has said. And the first is about what we call electoral integrity. The INEC as the electoral management body needs to ensure, and we need to articulate very well what we call electoral integrity, because elections or management of political parties is very critical for the sustenance of democracy. And one of the first things they need to look at is actually there's an election political parties management body, political parties monitoring body that is in INEC, but they don't seem to perform their function. And there's a code of conduct that INEC has that has to be also be implemented to the letter. One of it is to ensure that the right of people to be elected or to be elected is actually preserved. What we see is that some of our political parties have been frustrating the rights of people to be elected. A lot of our political parties are transactional vehicles, and they frustrate significantly the opportunities for people to get tickets in their party on their platforms. And all this seems to be happening by the electoral management body to control the behavior of political parties. The other is also the code of the behavior of political players. I think it's getting to the point when the electoral management body, INEC, needs to start talking about sanctioning or expelling or dismissing or preventing people from acting as politicians if they are actually true
election management body. Just like CBN can do anything for a bank, or NCC can do anything to regulate the telcos. INEC should also be able to regulate what is happening to political parties. The kind of thing that has been happening in the Labour Party, beyond the registration, beyond whatever is happening now, needs to have been sanctioned somewhere along the line. You see players who are visibly supporting an opposition coming to say they are representing a particular party. The clear case of Arabambi, who claims to be a national publicity secretary, when there is an alleged national publicity secretary, when there is when they are even a publicity secretary, and it is visibly known that this person is also supporting actively maybe the incumbent government or a incumbent political party. For us to have sanctity, for us to have sanctity, or for us to have respect for even political institutions, INEC should wake up there, and as part of political reform, INEC should wake up their electoral the political monitoring to sanction political players when they were not acting according to what is expected to protect the rights of people, or to protect the rights of political parties, or to protect to create respect for political institutions. I think that is not working well enough. The other is actually
Please, can you wrap up? Can you wrap up in like 30 seconds? Thank
okay.
you.
The second one is also the issue of the failure of even that electoral management institution. It gave us the impression at the last election that they were going to use beavers, and what beavers to us meant, to everybody, was that the moment you vote at your polling booth, the results, the votes will be counted at the and the last minute will be counted through electronically and will be transmitted. But they came out later to quickly change the process, and we have to be talking about Form C8, Form C9, Form C10. That is destroying the trust of the citizen in the electoral management body, in the INEC. I think one of the reforms we should be asking for is that once they outline a process for election, that should be followed. And I think that majorly the part of major push for our political electoral reform is to make sure that institution, INEC, the electoral body, should hold on to their word, hold on to and perform their role as proper electoral management body, and to preserve electoral integrity, because integrity is very critical to the sustenance of democracy. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I am to respond to you, do you know? I'm sure maybe you joined us just now. Maybe you didn't join me when I make my opening. In the opening, I mentioned clearly the issue of the Justice Mohammed Uwais report, which talk about breaking down of INEC into three: the Electoral Commission, which you mentioned earlier on, EMB. Then two, we talk about enforcement agents, the enforcement commission, which deal with the malfeasance within the electoral system, which include the internal democracy that you just mentioned a while ago, and then the delineation. And I've always also advised anybody that want to join a political party, your first point of call, please put this in your left hand side, everybody, if you want to join a political party. Your first point of call, which a lot of us have been found wanting sometimes, including myself. We do not know the constitution of the party. One, we do not know the manifesto of the party. If I am to do a survey within us here, many of us don't know the constitution of the Labour Party. Neither do you know the manifesto of the Labour Party. You just believe that it's a party, and you do not also know that the Labour Party's ideology and principle differ from what PDP has, or differ from what APC has. Even though all of them got their power from Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as regard to the composition of their manifesto. But each one of them have a different modus operandi. And you, as a member, must know that. so that when you are challenging them, you'll be challenging them on fact. And that is the reason why most of them have been able to outwit most of the challenges that we have. If you don't know how to swim, you cannot go into water. If you get into that water, you will drown, or somebody has to come and help you. That is the truth. So know the manifesto and the constitution of the party. Number one, you must know it like the back of your hand, like you are reading Quran or a Bible. That is when you'll be able to challenge this. And I also want to tell you, when I was IPAC chairman, myself and Peter Ahmed as secretary, we tried as much as up to today. The only political institute that is existing in the whole of Africa was done during our leadership. It is there in NIPS. It trains leadership of political party leaders, from chairmen, secretaries, publicity secretaries, legal advisors, and it trained them even up to state levels as regard to behaviors. The code of conduct that you mentioned was actually done through our own leadership. And the code of conduct has its own challenges because it cannot enforce. The code of conduct of the Inter-Party Advisory Council cannot enforce. It can only leverage on moral situations because everybody is equal. You are both given leadership to manage for a certain period of time. So the enforcement has to come from another body, which is what was suggested from that particular waste report. Once that is put in place, you can make reference and report issues of internal malfeasance to that particular enforcement, and they will deal with it. So that is the way we are suggesting that we can advance our electoral system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko. I think at this point, I'll yield the mic to Dr. Mo. Thank you.
Dr. Tanko, as we round up from here, I want to ask you maybe three questions in one, and you can expound that as you also give your closing remark. I wanted to find out from you, considering the rate of voter apathy and the disillusionment, especially among young people, how does the ObiDient movement plan to re-energize civic participation? I was opportune to be in Indonesia a couple of months ago with our principal, and while interacting with the INEC chairman over there, I asked questions concerning how they were able to achieve 81% participation in their last election. And, they gave certain answers that are domesticated based on their culture and how their communal engagement. These are things that are the level of the movement. So I want to ask you, what's the plan of the movement as a chair as concerning that? Number two, how does the ObiDient movement plan to handle internal party democracy, especially as this continues to be an evolving point, and also as we evolve politically beyond the 2023 general elections? I understand that, yes, we are not a political party, but it's a recurring decimal, and it beholds on, especially a movement like ours, to be able to handle that, because otherwise, at the end of the day, we will be at the receiving end of the quagmire that continues to happen. And lastly, still with the ObiDient movement, I want to say, if electoral reform, if it continues to stall, under the current political regime and structure, is civil resistance, or maybe put it in an understanding culture, is peaceful protest on the table as a constitutional alternative for us, for the movement? Thank you, Dr. Tanko.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this your wonderful question, Dr. Mo. You see, some look at politics as if no, it's just about you winning, going to go and contest election and all. You need to study politics. You need to know all the intricacies around it. Shehu Sani the other day when we were at a program was positioning how it works practically. You need to pay omonile. You need to pay, get somebody who nurtured you, who trains you, and all the challenges that are daring within the political system. You must know them. And of course, you must be actually very ready to part with money. That even some of the money that you generate may not even be your own, but you must have money in your hands. These are practical things that happen. In terms of civic participation, like you mentioned, we've never had this good. In 2023, we had most largest mobilization of the Nigerian youth who came in to the political terrain. 12.5 million of them, as confirmed by INEC, registered because of one single message of Peter Obi. Many of them who were disillusioned, they didn't believe, came in and they are ready to give in all their all. But unfortunately for them also, they didn't really know. Most of them are new into the system. They didn't really study the political party that they are getting into. And they also felt that they were annihilated into coming into that particular political party to give their best, which is part of the resistance in some of those who are in position in the political party. Because the moment they see you coming in, they see you as somebody who is coming to take over a structure that they have built over the years. But they didn't look at the values that you are bringing in into that particular system. Some are very, very naive as members. They only want to see results. No, we must do it like this. We must do it like this. We must do it like this. You know, not knowing there are rules and regulations that guides it. I remember with nostalgia telling members of some of the support groups they wanted to join the party as at that time, and I told them that I'm an old hand. I started in Form 3 as a political member, so I know what I'm talking about. Please just listen to me. But of course, they didn't. I was telling them that don't go into the party as a group. You will be resisted. Don't go into the party as a group. Go into the party as individuals. Go into the party as individuals. Go and register and take your card as individuals. But of course, you know where you come from. Then you can reconvene later as a group. That is the best way to get an entry into the political party, that they will not see you as a threat. So you must have that particular strategical entry point into the party. See, Dr. Mo, as you are, with the kind of people that you command, and you want to move all of them into the area council, they will resist you, because they know that the moment you come in, you are going to take off. Even if there's going to be primaries for the party in the state, you will take over the structure of the party. The person who is the chairman there is afraid that you come in to take it away from him. That's how it is. It's natural. So, but then we need to educate our people on a continuous basis. This kind of exchange that we're having this night, but I know I have learned some things from you, and you must have learned some things from me. When we continue to engage our people and letting them to understand the rudiment behind political party and political participation, they will be more involved into our political thing, and they will be more educated, and then they will be able to handle some certain challenges. That is the only way. It requires knowledge sharing for those who have already been there before. Take some mentorship. There's nothing is nothing more than that, to get people engaged and connect with them. Our people, yes, we have been able to resist a lot of things on Twitter and all. Yes, we've been able to convert on the Twitter and what we, but you will agree with me, lack of our organization robbed us off of that particular, how to challenge that particular election. Some are saying that we could have been on the street. PO should have announced it and we should have gone on the street. Yes, we'll go onto the street and all. Some of Muslims have been killed by now. Maybe people like me now wouldn't have been talking to you. Maybe I started being rotten in the grave. Politics needs strategic thinking and strategic execution. Strategic thinking and strategic execution. When we put our minds on the right places, we can easily marshal out our plans. But once we don't do that, we are not engaging. We are only antagonizing. In a civil society, we used to say this word: don't stop antagonizing, but organize. When you organize, you'll be able to champion a cause even without raising a pen, and you still get your results. So these are the things that we need to do. We need to start engaging and educating our people on what is happening live in any political setting. Then there'll be more participation with knowledge so that they can be able to engage those who are already on ground. So it's a continuous advocacy, but we have to take subject matters. Like we can spend 1 or 2 hours in each subject matter. How do we get into political party? How do we know a political party? We start sharing those particular knowledge, then people will be more informed. And that way we'll be getting more people engaged and knowing how to do it. Internal party democracy. The moment you know the doctrine within the party, getting to know people who are there. You see, in political party, when you get into a political party, you must know somebody. You must try and lean with somebody. There are different groupings in the political parties. But once you know somebody, you'll be able to get to know exactly what is the working within that party. If you know that, then you'll be able to marshal out when you are going to run for elections. Political parties need capable hands, somebody that can win elections, not somebody that continue to be antagonistic to everything. Nobody likes petitioners in political party. I have been a chairman, I've been a presidential candidate, I've been chairman of all political parties, so I know. And some people who come in with this particular identity, no, this, you will write petition from beginning to the end. At the end of it all, those who are in the saddle of leadership will just throw you away, just simply based on the positions of the party. So you must know this. Internal democracy is simple only if you'll be able to align yourself with the workings of the political party. If you want to run for elections, there are thousands and hundreds and thousands of people who want to run for that particular seat. But if you align yourself with the right people, you know that you have the capacity, they will be the one that will champion your cause. So in that way, it will reduce. But the struggle for position in every political party is what leads to internal party democracy problems. Imagine, for example, you have a candidate who have been suffering for the party for a very long time. That particular person doesn't have money to run for election, and the election requires money. Somebody will come from nowhere. I've seen it happen. He has the capacity, he has the money. They will give him that particular platform, and they will tell that other person to say, I beg, just hold on. It will be your turn. There was something I learned yesterday morning. I will share it with you with a coded language. The person we met was telling us why he fell in love with one particular person. And what was the reason why? He said that particular person, for years, he wants to run for elections. So every time he comes up, they will deny him to run for election. They will bring in somebody just like what we are just talking now. But he will not argue. He will say, okay, no problem. He will go back and stay. The next year will come, he will not argue. But when it was time, that's why it is important for you to know in politics, don't ever think you've wasted your time. Once you enter, you are a politician till the day you die. Some say they retire is a lie. They don't retire. By the time that particular person saw that 2 times that person, he doesn't have money, but he has integrity and is well accepted in the party, they didn't give him the ticket. When they were to select a vice president, there was a unanimous consensus that that person should be the next vice president. And that was how he became vice president. So it's a lesson you must learn. Bowing down does not make you stupid. It gets you more popularity in politics. I am a testimony. Maybe I will share that experience with you another day. So in politics, you must be seen to be up and doing, always contributing, but denying yourself some of the things that your ambition that you think you needed at that particular time. I can assure you, the time that you will come with that particular interest, that will come to you, you will not know, and you will unanimously get it. So use some of this experience that we are lucky to have to help reduce the issue of internal democracy. Many people who are in position in the party don't like those who antagonize them. They always like loyal people. Loyalty does not mean stupidity. It gives you room that you believe in the collective ideas, collective interests. That's what it gives you, and it gives you enormous powers. With regard to the third issue, electoral reform, civic action, maybe this will be my closing remark. For me, I've been on the streets. I've been field marshal. In every struggle that Ghana has waged, if I'm around, I'm there, in the forefront. I have led also the struggle together with Malam Balarebo Musa and Otto Wanko. The only thing I have not faced is death in the struggle. So we've been there. But I think we need to re-strategize. Those who have been using it as a way of getting results to certain things have now mastered the game of dislodging you. Somebody said that if the ObiDient movement that was amorphous before was not easily tracked, now they would track us because we now have a face. We're not running away from them to track us. But what we will refuse to agree is for us to be intimidated by anybody. We have rights, just like any one of them have rights. They can use their guns. They can use this DSS and all to manipulate us. But we need to rethink on a strategy of how to defeat them in their game. We shouldn't start giving them the same opportunity to easily identify our next move. The only move they know that we can always do is go onto the streets. They know that. Yet, it may be effective, but then a lot of people lose their lives. In this electoral reform quest, it is my simple request that we can do the same thing and achieve maximum results. Democracy is being owned by the world. It's been seen as the alternative way of getting people to be collectively involved in selecting who leads them. And so the world will not want to see democracy go in vain. The only thing that is affecting this government, if we continue to put it on them, is that they are killing democracy. We'll keep on telling them they are killing democracy. The whole world will be against them. So what do we do? It is my suggestion that while we are thinking about having this electoral reform advocacy, yes, flag boy, very good, you can do this or you're flagging and all of that. But you also know that if we decide that every 774 local governments and each of our wards, we just sit in front of our houses and raise a simple placard we can design ourselves and say no, or we demand for electoral reform. APC is killing democracy everywhere. We don't need to go anywhere, just in front of our houses. We give a mandate. We do it for 3 days, we rest. We do it again for 3 days. Everywhere, you just snap picture and sending it around the world, accusing APC that they are killing democracy and electoral reform now. That's what we want. we are already stigmatizing them. We are putting something on them. We are labeling them. And they cannot spread everywhere and start arresting or shooting tear gas on everyone. We will achieve the same aim. I'm just giving this as a simple example. So we must be thinking differently, strategically, to give us the same result. If we agree on this, we can champion it and promote it as a first point of attack on those who are killing democracy. I don't mind, we can give a date for it and say we start on maybe on the 16th or 20th or 30th. And we can also mention the names of our members. You are killing democracy. Put their name on it. Let's spread it around the whole country. You will see the level of action and reaction from both internal and international community. It's just a suggestion. We may decide on it, we may throw it away. And we can decide to hybrid it. This is just my final word. May God help all of us, and a new Nigeria is possible. Thank you very much for having me, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko, for those insights that you've been able to share with us today. As we bring this to a close, we will continue to engage. I'm so happy that these conversations are recorded, and they will continue to serve as rallying points of engagement and education and continuous raising of our consciousness where these issues are concerned. And the fight for electoral reform is not just for the ObiDient movement alone, but for all Nigerians who believe in democracy. And this we will continue to do. You know, we will continue to push on this and to ensure that much more than those who rig and those who break promises, we must continue to use this as rallying point to resolve and coordinate our actions, and continue to push on. So many things have been mentioned here today. I would not overbear them. For those who are coming, you can go back and listen up again. And we would have more people. A lot is happening now, especially from different quarters. And we're helping people to connect, especially with those who are in the green and in the red chambers, to continue to push. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely doable, and as we discuss more, we continue to see that the path towards credible and inclusive elections, transparent elections in Nigeria, it's both very complex as it is urgent, looking at the fact that if you look at the timeline, we just have a few months to action time. And so these lines and these contributions and questions, they help to illuminate and help us to stay in the heart of the struggle. And as ObiDient movement, we will continue to ensure that the core reforms, especially with contributions that have been made tonight, are prioritized, along the systemic challenges that is facing INEC, their credibility, the judicial reliability that we have, and we continue to have civic engagement like this. If you're here tonight, I don't envy you. It only shows that you're one of the few strong people who are here in the country, because to be honest with you, it's easy to be on spaces where people can easily be insulted, abused, poor energies. While that is not wrong or bad, we must go beyond just the expression of energies to go through the hard work of listening to hard, long lectures, understanding. Dr. Tanko, you said some things that are very germane here, and I'm going to ensure that we do that. We're able to come back and teach politics 101. We must understand how to set up political parties, how to engage with them. What are the things to look out for? Like you rightly said, when you're getting into a political party, what are the nuances? Because after all is said and done, anger is beautiful, but anger is not a strategy. vexations and all those things that we put out. They are beautiful, but they are not even hope, as beautiful as hope is. Hope is not a strategy. Yes, we have hope for a new Nigeria, but that in itself is not a strategy. We must be able to listen, ask questions beyond just wanting to just, you can ask questions, but if you're not asking the right questions, we're never going to go anywhere. Those who are able to make aeroplane fly, those who created the TVs, those who created X spaces, the clubhouses, the Facebook, they were asking right questions, because if we don't ask right questions, we're never going to get to the answer. Sometimes we can come here and vent, and our vent is just venting. In fact, the people who shape nations engineering, and hearts of people. They even allow us, they create space for us to vent, and feel good about venting, knowing that at the end of the day, you just is a feel good exercise while they continue to do the hard work without sentiment, and that's one of the things you notice with the West. They are not emotionally involved with. It is not because I feel like I'll be in this space, not because I feel like it, but because it is important to be here. Most of the time it's so easy to be in places where we can vent, and just express emotions. But as we grow as a movement, it's important to begin to, you know, it's like a child, you cry when you're hungry, but there's nobody here that cries because he's hungry. In fact, I can assure you, if Uncle Mazi here cry because he's hungry, we'll beat him. You understand what I mean? That same thing that a child will do, and you will get the attention of uncle, daddy, mommy, everybody running. You do it, you'll be beaten. And that's what we see with elections, and we need to know. That's why we drew some of our courages from people who were beating blue black and they went back. We stayed on queue for 24 hours because nation building will not come by just, it will not even happen by just one cycle of election. You beat us in 2023 by rigging, stealing ballot boxes. A lot of people have given up. Oh, some people even get angry and tear their passports. It's like children. While that is okay, you are just a baby. You must get to the point, like Dr. Tanko said, where you get into a party, you go through the rudiments, you go to the grassroots. It's not enough that what we're doing on the social media and this, it's laudable, it's beautiful, it's better than just come here and just abuse, insult, and shout. Sometimes you get tired and wonder, oh, Dr. Tanko, you're talking for so long and everything. If you create a space now where we want to really show these people where we just want to insult them, you have a lot more people there. I can assure you that as our days grow, as we grow older, I'm expecting that these spaces are going to to shrink. I don't expect to have more than 50, 20, 10 people to stay with us for 2-3 hours where we're going to be discussing real stuff, because real stuff are those things that the majority of the people cannot handle. So if you're here today, I want to say thank you for all of you who have taken time to be here. And I see all of you, I see everybody here, but I can go through the rudiment of just thanking everybody. But if you're here, thank you. For those who spoke, for those who are here to learn and to implement, thank you so much. Uh, Tomorrow or next, we'll be holding other spaces, to continue to push. Uh, Thank you, and have a wonderful night. God bless.
Ah, la, la, la,